Can you identify this famous face? You've seen her on television, on Broadway, and in the movies. Do you know who it is? You're right if you said Betsy Palmer. And playing opposite Betsy tonight, one of America's most popular television stars, Bill Cullen. Tonight, Betsy Palmer plays against Bill Cullen on The Face is Familiar. The Face is Familiar is brought to you by Winston. Winston tastes good like a cigarette should. Now, here's your host on The Face is Familiar, Jack Clark.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Welcome to our show. You're about to see some very unusual and fascinating faces. And they're the faces of famous people whom you've seen many times in the newspapers, in the movies, and on television. But tonight, you'll see them in a very different way. So you at home, try to identify, if you can, these famous faces as you play along with our two celebrity teams. And tonight, Betsy Palmer and her partner, Nathan St. Amand, playing against Bill Cullen and his partner, Phyllis Behar. And Betsy Palmer, so nice to have you on our premiere broadcast.
Thank you, Jack. I'm very honored to be here.
What you been doing this summer?
Oh, this summer I did a couple of musicals. And I was on a boat.
Really? Well, your partner is Nathan St. Amand from Gaffney, South Carolina, a doctor of what, Nathan?
Pediatrics, Jack.
Good. Bill Cullen, how nice to have you on the same show instead of sitting in for you.
It's nice to be here with a foot doctor, too.
What have you been doing this summer?
Beg pardon?
What have you been doing this summer?
Oh, I attended 2 musicals and fell off a boat.
Say hello to your partner, Bill. Her name is Phyllis Behar from Long Island, New York, a housewife, and a mother of how many children?
3 sons. What?
3 sons. Lucky girl you are. Good luck to all of you tonight. Let's play The Face is Familiar. Now, to start the game, we're going to show you one part of a famous face. So light up the screen, please. Now, that's just one of 7 parts that make up the complete face. Now, in order to get a better idea of whose face it really is, we're going to add more parts to it every time you can complete my statement. We're going to start with Betsy and Bill. Put your fingers on the little buttons in front of you there, and to see 2 parts of that famous personality, complete this statement. In Spain, the spectators cheer the bull... Betsy?
I'm probably going to blow the whole bit by saying ole.
You beat the gun, but you're right. Ole is the answer we're after. That's right. Okay. Betsy, for a correct answer to that, now you get the first crack at identifying our famous personality. See if you can do that by looking at 2 parts of this familiar face. Do you know who that might be?
Looks like red hair. Jane Meadows.
You say that is Jane Meadows? That is not Jane Meadows. You're playing for the identification. Whoever does so wins $200 and a chance for even more money. So this time will be Nathan St. Amand against Phyllis Behar. Fingers on your buttons, please. Complete this statement for 3 parts of that familiar face. A beatnik calls his apartment his... Yes, Phyllis.
Pad.
Pad is what we're after. That's correct. So now... Phyllis, now you get a chance to identify this famous personality by looking now to the screen and 3 parts of the familiar face.
That's a big nose.
For $200 in the game, is that face familiar, Phyllis?
Joan Crawford.
Joan Crawford?
Joan Crawford?
That is not Joan Crawford. Back to Betsy and Bill for 4 parts now you're playing. If her bathing suit fits in her purse... Betsy?
It's called a bikini.
She wears a bikini. Bikini's the answer. That's right. Tell me what beach you're on this summer, and I'll be there, my dear. Look to the screen now, Betsy. It's up to you playing for Nathan. See if you can identify our famous personality by looking at 4 parts of her famous face. Does that help you?
No, it doesn't. My gracious.
Time
She has
to
a
go.
very low...
Time is gone. No identification. Back now to Nathan and Phyllis. Fingers on the button. For 5 parts, complete this statement. If you combine lunch with breakfast. Yes, Nathan.
Brunch.
Okay, Nathan. Now, if you will look to the screen, please see if you can identify our famous personality. Look at 5 parts of her famous face.
Carol Channing.
You say this, Carol Channing? That is not the face of Carol Channing. Betsy and Bill, again, complete
It's
this
nice
statement.
to be back in the game.
Bill and Betsy, complete this for 5 parts, for 6 parts, excuse me.
6 parts.
A person who never has fun in a crowd. Yes, Bill?
Says Olay, lives in a pad, and is called a wallflower.
No. You had to be so early. The rest of the sentence in a crowd is a party pooper, but you gave the wrong answer. Therefore, it goes to Betsy. Because you gave a wrong answer, she gets to try to identify our famous personality. So, Betsy, look at the screen, if you will. Here are 6 parts of this very famous face.
Oh, that would help. Yeah. Mindy Carson.
Mindy, that is not Mindy Carson. So for a look at all 7 parts now, it's Nathan against Phyllis. Fingers on the buttons, please. Complete this sentence. If you look at the brighter side, you're an... Yes, Phyllis.
Optimist.
You are indeed. Now, look at the screen, Phyllis. Here are all 7 parts of that famous face. For $200 and the game and a chance at even more, is that face familiar?
No.
Time beats you, and there we have all 7 parts revealed without a proper identification. So now we're going to give you a chance to straighten out that face by switching any 2 parts of the picture, one with the other. It'll be Betsy against Bill for a switch this time. Complete this statement. In Sweden, you lift your glass and say, yes, Betsy.
Skål.
Skål it is, and that's good for a switch. All right, Betsy and Nathan now get to switch any 2 parts, one with the other. So, Betsy, you elect the first part you want to switch.
Nathan, I'm going to change 7 with...
With what other part, Nathan?
7 with
There's only one place, Nathan.
Nathan, which one?
6.
Oh.
You're going to just flip-flop 6 and 7, see if that makes that very famous face any more familiar to you. Let's see if it does now. We'll switch 6 and 7. One answer between you for the game and $200. Do you know who she is?
Nathan, do you know?
Just one answer.
Go, man, go.
Mitzi Gaynor.
You say Mitzi Gaynor? No, it is not Mitzi Gaynor. For another switch now, it's Nathan against Phyllis. Complete this statement. Something that makes an easy target is called a sitting... Yes, Phyllis?
I was... Not bull.
Time going.
Duck.
Duck. That's what we're after. That's right. All right. You and Bill now get to switch any 2 parts. So, Phyllis, you pick the first part you want to switch.
I'll switch 2 with...
With what other part, Bill?
I'm very good at this.
2.
2 with.
Yes.
That means 2
with.
would go there.
Pick another part, Bill.
4.
You're going to switch 2 with 4. You have the approval of the audience. Let's see if that helps you make the identification and win the game. One answer between you. Switch now 2 with 4. One answer.
Zsa Zsa Gabor.
I beg pardon?
Zsa Zsa Gabor.
That is the face of Zsa Zsa Gabor. And you did. That's a good identification, and that's $200 worth to you, Phyllis. You have a chance now to add an additional $500. In a moment, we're going to show you and Bill 3 of a kind. Now, that'll mean 3 pairs of eyes, 3 noses, and 3 pairs of lips. Now, every correct identification you and he make is worth $50. But if you get all 3 correct, that is worth $500. We'll start with you, Bill. We'll tell you in advance that we are looking for the lips of Steve Lawrence. So look at the screen. Tell us which of these lips belong to Steve Lawrence. Are you ready? Here are lips number 1, number 2, and number 3. All right, Bill, for $50, which one?
See, I was so sure on 2, I didn't look at 3, so I'll say 2.
You're going to go number 2? You say those are the lips of Steve Lawrence? Let's move them now to their proper position on the screen. And those really are the lips of Marty Allen. You had a second sight there. Steve Lawrence was in the number 3 position. But Phyllis, you can win $50 now. It's up to you. We're looking this time for the eyes of Sophia Loren. Look at the screen. Here are eyes number 1, number 2, and number 3. Okay, Phyllis, for $50, which ones?
Number 3.
You say number 3. Those are the ones you picked. Let's move them to their proper position on the screen. And those are the eyes of Sophia Loren. For $50. Bill, you can add another $50 to Phyllis's take by identifying the nose of Senator Robert Kennedy. Senator Bob Kennedy. Look at the screen now. Here is nose number 1, number 2, number 3. Which one do you say belongs on the face of Senator Robert Kennedy?
Can I? No, I can't. The first 2 look Republican. I'll say 3.
Okay, that's the one you picked. Let's move it to its proper position on the screen for a full face shot. That is the nose of Jack Benny. Maybe he's a Democrat, but that's not Bob Kennedy. The real one was in the number 1 spot, Bill. Bob Kennedy was in the number 1 spot. Well, you didn't do too badly, though, Phyllis. For the good game, you got $200, another $50 in the 3 of a kind, so $250 total. Nathan St. Amand, you'll have a nice gift to take away with you. Thank you so much for playing The Faces Familiar. Good night and good luck. We'll be back just a moment, right after this word from our sponsor. Now let us have you meet and they meet you, our new players. As partner to Betsy Palmer, we have a gentleman from Chicago, Illinois, Andy Murphy, who's a salesman. Are you married, Andy?
No, I'm single.
You lucky fella. No, that'll change too, I'm sure. Bill Cullen's new partner is a pretty lady, Jill Borland from Buffalo, New York. I'll ask the same question. Are you married, Jill?
No, I'm not.
Jill, would you like to meet Andy Murphy over here? Good luck to both of you. Let's play The Faces Familiar, shall we? To start the game, we're going to show you one part of a very famous face. So light up the screen, please. That's just one of 7 parts that make up the complete face. Now, in order to get a better idea of whose face it really is, we're going to add more parts to it every time you can complete my statement. Betsy Palmer and Bill Cullen will start for 2 parts of the familiar face. Complete this statement. A party for men only. Yes, Betsy.
Stag party.
How would you know a thing like that, for heaven's sakes? It happens to be right. Betsy, you get a first chance to identify our famous personality. Look to the screen. See if you know him or her by looking at 2 parts of the familiar face.
Jonathan Winters.
You say that's Jonathan Winters? That is not Jonathan Winters. Andy Murphy, Jill Borland, first time for you now. Finger on the buttons. Complete this statement for 3 parts. Lil Abner and Daisy May live in the town. Yes, Andy?
Dogpatch.
Dogpatch is where they live. Very good. All right, look to the screen now. Andy, see if you know who our famous personality is by looking at 3 parts of his famous face. For the game and $200 is
Perry Como.
You say that's Perry Como. That is not the face of Perry Como. Betsy and Bill for 4 parts. If you have more than 1 wife at the... Yes, Bill?
How would you know?
Bigamist.
And you made a boo-boo, too. But we'd accept either answer in that case. That's right. Look to the screen, Bill. See if you know who our famous star is by looking at 4 parts of his familiar face. For the game and $200, is that face familiar? Time beat you there, Bill. Okay, we go on now. Andy and Jill playing against each other for 5 parts. Complete this. To help speed your mail, you use a zip... Jill, code is what we were after, and you almost got too early there. All right, Jill, now see if you can make this identification and win the game. Is that face familiar when you see 4 parts of that famous star?
Oh, that really helps. Really doesn't. Jerry Lewis.
You said that's Jerry Lewis? That is not the face of Jerry Lewis. Back to Betsy and Bill now for 6 parts. Complete this, Bets and Bill. The slang term for a mystery novel, Bill.
How
How'd that what? Oh, the slang term for mystery novels, he wants to know.
Yes.
Mystery
Tonight
novels, yeah.
sometime.
Whodunits. Whodunits.
Whodunit is what we were after. I thought you never were going to done it. All right, Bill. Now, on behalf of Jill Borland, look at the screen. See if you know who this famous star is when you see 6 parts of his famous face.
God is punishing you.
He looks like he's been in an accident. I gotta say, in a...
Time beats you again, Bill. All right, you see all 7 parts. Jill and Andy, fingers on the button. A very close horse race ends in a photo. Yes, Jill. Finish is what we were after. Now, let's light up all 7 parts of that very familiar face.
Oh, Glenn Ford.
You say Glenn Ford?
No.
Yeah.
That is not the face of Glenn Ford. All right, now all 7 parts of that face have been revealed without a correct identification. So now we're going to give you a chance to straighten out the face by switching any 2 parts of the picture, one with the other. It'll be Betsy against Bill, this time for a switch. Complete this statement. When you commit a social blunder, you... Yes, Betsy?
It's a faux pas.
That's what we were after, and you beat it. Very good for you.
Ow.
Yeah, Fox Pass, yeah. Okay,
Now
Betsy
then.
and Andy get a chance to switch any 2 parts, one with the other. Betsy, which part will you switch?
All right, Andrew. 6 and...
With what, Andy?
There's only one thing.
4.
That's
6 with 4.
really?
You hope that will help you straighten out the face and make an identification. Let's see if it does now. We will switch 4 with 6 and... That's the widest mustache I ever saw. All right, one answer between you now for the game of $200. Is that face any more familiar?
Andy thinks he knows.
Tony Martin.
Tony Martin.
Tony Martin.
Incredible.
Yeah.
That is not Tony Martin. For another switch now. Andy is still in this. Andy Murphy and Jill Borland now play for a switch. Complete this statement.
Come on, Andy.
In Ireland, it's considered good luck to kiss the... Yes, Andy.
Blarney Stone.
Blarney Stone, Mr. Murphy. Of course, you ought to know that. All right, now you and Betsy can switch again. Now, Andy, you pick the first one.
Take the mustache. 1.
Going to switch 1 with what other part, Betsy?
I guess I have to go to 4.
Okay, that's what we'll do then. See how that happens. We'll switch now number 1 with number 4. One answer between you. Is that face familiar now?
I'll say Robert Ryan.
Robert, it is not
No.
Robert Ryan.
No.
All right, Bill and Betsy for a switch. Complete this statement. Listen to this carefully. If you're dancing with your thumbs in your ears and wiggling your fingers, yes, Bill?
Thumbs in frug.
No. You are doing the mouse is the correct answer. So for an incorrect answer, again it goes to Betsy and Andy. Get a chance to switch. Betsy, which one will you switch this time?
5.
You're going to switch 5?
Come on now, Andy.
5 and 3.
You're going to switch 5 and 3 this time. We're going to see what happens now if that face becomes familiar. Let's switch, if you will, number 5 with number 3. One answer between you. One answer.
Pick them all.
That is not the face of Victor Moan. Andy Murphy, Jill Borland for another switch. Complete this statement. If you've had a bad dream, you've had a nightmare for a switch. Which one, Jill?
It's Jack Lemmon.
Without the switch, you're going to give up the switch? You want me to accept that answer? It's up to you. You better switch.
I think we should switch. As a legal advisor.
All right, Jill.
I think we should switch.
All right, you make the switch. Pick one part to switch.
I better do something. 4.
4 with what other part, Bill? 4?
6.
4 with... Okay, you asked for it, friends, and we're going to switch number 4 with number 6. One answer between you. He's got his mustache again. That is the face of Jack Lemmon. Bill just couldn't stand it without the mustache, could you?
I'm not convinced. Let's switch it around a little more, Jack.
You did it.
And
That's
Andy
worth
with the
finding.
red button and everything.
$200 you've got for the identification, Jill. A chance at 500 more. The moment we're going to show you and Bill three of a kind. 3 pairs of eyes, 3 noses, and 3 pairs of lips. Every correct identification is worth $50. 3 in a row gets $500. We're going to start with you, Bill. We'll tell you in advance. We're looking now for the eyes of Andy Griffith. Look at the screen. Tell us which pair of eyes belongs to Andy Griffith. Are you ready?
Yeah?
Here is number 1.
Never get a girl.
Number 2. Number 3 for $50.
Number 1.
You say number 1. Those are the ones you picked. We move them on the screen to where they belong.
Show it to me. Show
And
it.
those really are the eyes of Andy Griffith. Jill, try to make it 2 out of 2 for $50 now. We're looking for you to identify the nose of Betsy Palmer.
Uh-oh.
The nose of Betsy Palmer. Look at this. Look at the screen, Jill. Here is nose number 1. And number 2. And number 3. Which nose belongs to our guest star tonight, Betsy Palmer?
Number 2.
You say number 2, that's the nose you picked for Betsy Palmer. We'll move it on the screen to where it belongs for a full face. And that really is the nose of Julie Andrews.
Number 1, I bet.
You were number 1, and you were in good company with Julie Andrews, too. Bill, you can make $50 for Jill Borland. Try to identify now the lips of Jack Benny.
Why don't I ever get a girl?
Look at the screen, Bill,
Sure,
and
send
try
my
to
way.
identify one of these pairs of lips. Here's number 1, number 2, and number 3.
They're all lips of Jack.
Only one belongs to Jack Benny. Which one do you say?
3.
You say number 3. You have picked those lips to belong to Jack Benny. Let's move them on the screen where they would belong. Those are the lips of Bennett Cerf.
Jack, would you kindly ask the audience not to shout out the wrong answers?
Jack Benny was number 1 in that case, Bill. But Jill, you got $200 for the game, another $50. A total of $250 goes to you. Andy, you'll have a nice gift. Thank you so much for a lot of fun tonight on the Faces. We'll be back in just a moment, right after this word from our sponsor. Well, that sums up our familiar faces on this program for tonight. They got to make room for the other familiar faces on CBS. Betsy, we had just a ball tonight. Thank you
Don't
so
I know
much.
you from somewhere?
Wait till I slice up my face. It'll become familiar. Do come back soon.
Thank
Thanks
you,
for being
I will.
on our maiden voyage. And Bill, thanks to you, buddy.
My apologies to Jack Lemmon, but we did to this poor fellow.
When he sees this, he'll probably grow a mustache. That's what... Thank you so much. Next week, our guest stars will be Edie Gourmet and Alan King. We hope you'll be along. Until then, the name is Jack Clark. I hope the face is familiar.
The Face is Familiar is a Bob Stewart production.